Hey Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Allison. Welcome to Campfire. It's kind of chilly. I got my coat on.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. I've been really thinking about um, what we've been talking about yesterday and today. And you read that scriptural passage about King David, your namesake, and then we watched the video. And Jana had those words in the email that she sent us, right? She had snag and sass, style and soul. And the video in particular really lays out the snags that David had in his life. But, I'm not sure that I'm seeing the sass. Do you see it?
Oh yeah. I think David was plenty sassy because boy, those snags were huge. I mean, he had people he loved just they were murdered. I mean, he was so sad. And he just kept going. He just kept going and he kept um trying to build God's kingdom and respond to God. And one of the ways he was super successful, what I saw is that he was humble. He was humble before God and said, listen, I don't know everything. I can't do everything without you, God. And he depended on God. And I think his sass is actually his inner knowledge that with God's help, all is possible. That seems pretty sassy.
Yeah. So his sass was having faith in God and picking himself up and just keeping on with all the setbacks and with everything. And some of the setbacks were of his own making.
Yeah, he kind of goofed up a few times, huh?
You know what really touched me, because it's just been bouncing around in my head, and what really sort of stayed with me throughout the day is that whole bit about where they said in the video that even though King Saul had tried to have David murdered multiple times, and therefore, can't really consider him a really close friend, right? Mentor or anything like that. David wept for him when King Saul died. And, because he still loved him, he wept for him. I mean, that really hit home about the fact that he wanted something good for Saul, who had not treated David well. That really resonated because that's really, really hard to do.
It's very hard to do, but I think that's behind when Jesus says we need to pray for our enemies, which, boy, that's really hard, Allison. When I hear Jesus say that to me, and I think, but I'm mad at them, but if we hold them and we hold that anger, Allison, how do you feel when you're angry at other people? Do you feel happy yourself when you're angry at someone that's done something wrong to you?
Well, that's the problem, though, Dave, because sometimes anger has a real self-righteous feel to it, and it can feel really good, right? Because it can pump up our egos. And so it's trying to figure out, how do you have a zeal for doing what's right for God, but at the same time recognizing that sometimes we get in our own way, and that anger, we need to set it aside. So I guess what I'm saying is, we talked yesterday about how people are complex, they're complicated, and that's one of those areas that might be complex where anger doesn't help us, right? We all know that forgiveness really ultimately helps us. It helps align us to God, and it helps set us free in our hearts, and yet sometimes we can get caught up in our self-righteousness.
Well, I think the remedy always is to show love. And one thing David did, like with Dan, he showed how much he loved God. He wouldn't hide it. He wouldn't hide his joy. He wouldn't hide that love of God in him. And I think, oh my gosh, I feel like that's what we sometimes do when we're angry. We hide our own goodness, and then we just make the problem worse. So I'm thinking it's like life. We don't want to hide it, right, Allison? Oh, is there another campfire song or another verse to our song that you could sing?
I think you know what. That was beautiful what you just said, Dave. That was really beautiful about hiding ourselves when we're angry and not hiding it for God.
Well, I think we should finish our day by singing another verse in our campfire song. What do you think, Allison?
Let's do it. Go for it. You start.
Okay. I got to do hand motions with this too, so I got to set my.
Of course you do.
Yeah, we start out with a line of mine, and then we got to go. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine.
Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine.
Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine.
Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Let it.
Shine.
Awesome.
Good night, Allison. I look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, let's see, we talked about snags and we've talked about Sass today. And then what's tomorrow?
I guess that would be style.
Ooh, style.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's time for a costume change. I'm looking forward to that. So tomorrow I'm going to be styling, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
You bring it on, dude. You bring it on. Hey, Dave.
Thanks to you.
May your evening be holy, blessed, and peaceful.
And to you, my friend. May God bless you all this evening and always.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.